and welcome to the latest edition of Book Time with Elvis. With me, Mark. Maybe I should say, Shikni Ahoy! No, don't worry, it's not a nautical special, it's how we say hello everyone. How they say hello everyone in the Czech Republic. It's not quite the extent of my Czech after 9 years being here, but pretty close. No, it's a bit better than that, but still not great. Anyway, so makes a big change for me as I've actually been tagged in a tag rather than having to make up my own one to do it. The difficulty with being tagged, of course, is I don't know everybody who's done it, so it makes tagging difficult. At least when I write my own one, I know I'm the first person to do it, so tagging's quite easy. This is the COVID Katchup Tag, and I was very kindly tagged by Sina at Beating Around the Books, and this is an original tag created by Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. So let's go into the prompts, and then at the end I will hopefully by that point think of somebody to tag. So, right then, number one. When did you first hear about COVID-19? I don't remember exactly, but I think I remember hearing something towards the tail end of 2019, hearing about something happening in China. Certainly when we went back to school after Christmas, the kids were kind of talking about it, and every time somebody coughed in class, they would joke and say, oh, you've got COVID or something like that, which of course seems really silly now. Nobody really imagined how far it would spread and how far it would get. So so I think it was around the tail end of 2019, sometime maybe between Christmas and New Year. Number two, how are things in your neck of the woods? What's open or not? Well, it's a tale of two extremes really in my neck of the woods. When we had our first lockdown back in the second week of March, I think it was, in 2020, we reacted quite quickly. I think we had only, I want to say maybe 10 or 11 cases in the whole country when we locked down. I remember sitting with our school janitor chatting, and he always has the radio on in the background, and we heard the announcement that the government was closing schools. So in that respect, they reacted really quite quickly. And then there was this big drive to manufacture homemade masks because they didn't have enough PPE or personal protective equipment, if that's right. So there was quite an extraordinary drive of volunteers and things and seamstresses who sewed masks for everyone. I think they achieved something, it was incredible. It was like, I don't know, it was really like a couple of million maybe that they had sewed in under a week. So it really was quite impressive. And the first time around, it seemed scarier, even though the situation was far less dire than it is now. And that brings me on to what it's like here at the moment. It is getting better. If I'd made this video maybe 2 weeks ago, it wouldn't have been so optimistic. We went from being one of the best responses, or one of the best responders to the crisis last year, to being one of the worst countries, if not the worst country, I think, in terms of population affected this time around. There are many reasons for that, I think. One is that, when the summer came and the restrictions were eased, there were a lot of silly things happened. Like, for example, they threw a massive party on Charles Bridge in Prague, if you know it, that beautiful old bridge with all the statues on the side. There was a big kind of street party. I think there were up to 2,000 people who went along to that. And of course, it probably wasn't a good move. And then people kind of started to feel funny about following the rules, and then we were forced to kind of really lock down again just before Christmas. And then when schools went back, we only went back with the two youngest classes, so that's like 6 to 8-year-olds, I think. So I was only working in school just 3 days a week. And then it was around 3 weeks to a month ago that we locked down fully and all schools, nursery schools and things closed. Yeah, it's quite frustrating because, you know, we have mandatory mask wearing just being outside now, certainly within urban areas. And, you know, I can look out my window, which is on the main street in this town, and I often see people just not wearing their masks, and it's really quite frustrating. I don't really understand why the police don't enforce it. And, you know, pretty much everything that was deemed not essential is closed. We were confined to our municipalities, and if we had to travel anywhere else, we had to have some form of documentation or affidavit explaining the reasons for why we were travelling somewhere. The end of last week, they slightly eased that. Now we can actually travel within our districts, but not within our state. So we can stay within the district, but not go further away. And yeah, I don't really understand how it's ended up so poorly. I mean, a lot of people do blame the government, which I do understand, because this year is an election year, and I think they were kind of maybe trading off to some degree basically lives for votes or popularity in order to get themselves re-elected. We do have a slightly kind of populist government here at the moment, you know, there's been a lot of changes in regards to the health ministry. We lost the health minister last year because he was photographed not following his own rules. There's been a lot of political pressure from the president onto the prime minister about getting him to remove the current health minister because he won't unilaterally approve the Russian vaccine. So people are quite suspicious of the president's motives in the way he seems quite forward quite what's the word? Not obsessed, but insistent in moving forward with the approval for the Russian vaccine. So as I say, there's not too much open really. Online things function as normal. Food shops, of course, are open. Libraries are not open, but they have the windows so you can pick up books, but there's no meeting or personnel. They basically leave bags or boxes of books out and you go and just pick them up. So I guess there's a lot of trust involved that people won't steal them as they are left out there for people to collect. So yeah, it seems to be on the move. As I said, we can move in the right direction. We can move between within our district now, so that is possible. They do think that schools might reopen after the Easter holidays, but of course that remains to be seen. Number 3, beach reading. Any books you are looking forward to reading after COVID? I think my answer, excuse me, I think my probably not a good time to cough there, was it? I think my reading doesn't really depend on COVID. I mean, if I want to read it, I'll read it. And I don't plan to have any holiday this year. I'm rather hoping my parents will be able to visit. Haven't seen them in almost 2 years now because of the situation. So, yeah. Actually, one of the weird things with the first lockdown was I had a lot of time to read, but I didn't use it. I entered this kind of really weird reading slump for 3 months last year, from March till the summer, and I basically read almost nothing actually, which was terrible considering I had all that free time to read. Instead, I found myself kind of watching Netflix and HBO and that kind of thing, which I normally don't do. So yeah, maybe I don't know the reason for that, but no, there's nothing particular that I'm looking forward to reading after COVID. I might as well read it before, or during rather. So there we go. Number 4, what's a book you have read in the last 3 months directly or indirectly because of COVID? I can't remember the names now. I did download a couple of books that looked at epidemics and pandemics. I did download one, but I haven't read it yet. I downloaded it to my Kindle about the 1918 flu epidemic because it looked really interesting. It was a collection of personal experiences. Oh gosh, can't remember the name of it, but certainly, yeah, I would imagine the situation prompted me to do that. Number 5, what is the best video you have made or seen during COVID? Well, I've made a lot of videos, not for BookTube, I'm very new to that, but I have made a lot of videos for school. And of course, I like to think they're all the best because, you know, the kids like them, I hope. Well, maybe you'd have to ask them, but but I enjoy doing it at least. Ones I've seen, I really enjoyed seeing some of the videos from Italy last year. You know, the people standing in their apartments, on the balconies of their apartments, singing the national anthem and things like that. It was quite rousing, quite moving. Certainly they were probably some of the best videos I've seen during COVID. Number 6, are you going to have the vaccine? Yes, I am. I'm just waiting to hear when my appointment will be. I get to move up the register because I'm a teacher, and in the Czech Republic teachers can register earlier. Unfortunately, I am a youngish teacher for the rules, so I'm 40, and I know my colleagues who are 50 have been vaccinated, though those of us between 40 and 45 haven't heard yet. But when the call comes, I shall certainly take up the vaccination. I do believe it's very important, you know, and certainly a small prick to the arm is a small price to pay for returning to some sense of normality. And I think it kind of removes a bit of worry as well, you know, because the problem is you just don't know how you're going to react if you catch it. So although it might seem for a lot of people very mild, you just don't know, do you? Whereas if you've got the vaccine, then you'll feel a sense of security, hopefully not a false sense of security, but a sense of security that even if you come into contact with it, you will be fine. Okay, the last prompt is tag people. As I say, I'm not sure who's done it, but I will tag Scott and Becky at the Bookish Bryants. I will tag Daniel at Guilty Feet, and that's it maybe. I was thinking about Lynn at Revenant Reads, but maybe he's done it. If you haven't done it, Lynn, do it. And then basically anyone else who does watch my videos who would like to do it, then consider yourself tagged if you haven't done it already. It's a nice one. It's interesting. It's very interesting to see how, you know, people's communities have reacted to it. You know, from Sina in Germany and the others I've watched from the US or the UK. Great. So thank you very much for watching. Wish you all a lovely Sunday, and stay safe and healthy, of course.